Hello everyone, it's Glenda here back from Top Notch Legal. Now I've been talking for a while about the concept of good faith and having good faith obligations in commercial contracts. It's a concept that's developing in Australia. It only really has been around for the last few years, but I think it's something that can be highly advantageous to have in your contracts. And in the last video, I gave an example that involved a client of mine some years back where I think that a good faith obligation could well have saved this contract. Now, I've gone into some detail about that situation. So today I'm just going to summarize the facts so that I can get back to the point that I want to make today, which is that the client wanted to cut their losses, but to do so, they would have breached the contract and possibly been exposed to a large amount of damages. But due to a particular clause in the contract, they were able to terminate with pretty much impunity. All right, so let me get to the facts. As I said, I'm just summarizing the facts. So in this case, the client wanted to become an internet service provider, and they entered into negotiations with another company that was going to provide them with a state-of-the-art billing platform. So this billing platform would capture all the information that my client would need about every single thousands of customers. They'd be able to produce instant reports, and it was going to be crucial to the success of this business for my client. So once they signed the contract and they got the supplier began to build this platform, my client was required to make some very large monthly payments. However, about 3 months in, my client had serious concerns that this supplier was ever going to be able to deliver the state-of-the-art billing platform. And so my client wanted to withdraw from the contract. The problem here was that would mean that they were in breach of the contract. They couldn't sue the supplier because the contract was a little bit inadequate in its technical specifications about what was required for the billing platform. And we received advice that at the end of the day, the contract basically required that a billing platform be supplied, and this supplier had delivered a billing platform, even though it was woefully inadequate. So then what could my client do? So if they were to terminate the contract was to go for 3 years, and we're only just a few months into the contract. So if they terminated, they could be exposed to a large amount of damages. But in this case, I realized that what we had included in the contract was a clause that severely capped their exposure to liability. So even if they terminated and breached the contract, the supplier couldn't do much about it. And the cost of launching or suing them would be probably more than what they could claim in damages against my client anyway. So I was thrilled, of course, to save the day from that point of view. So my point here today is that make sure that your contracts have a clause in them that severely caps your exposure to liability. Now, if you try to remove all liability, you won't be successful because the courts in Australia won't enforce that type of obligation. But you can severely limit your exposure to liability. So that's my tip for today. That's Glenda here from Top Notch Legal.